What's going on, y'all? Welcome to episode 33 of the Fight Night Forecast, where we highlight, recap, and cover all things boxing. Let's get right into it. I know y'all see the thumbnail. The day of reckoning is upon us. We got a huge bout tomorrow. Just saw the weigh-ins a little bit ago, so we'll be getting into that. But first, we're gonna have to cover this past weekend of boxing. Let me make sure I got everything set up here, everything right. Yes, sir. I believe chat view is open. Once people start sliding in, I'll be able to see the chats this time. You know what I mean? I said I could see them last time. Last time I was lying. This time I'm telling the truth. I'll really be able to see it this time. So once y'all hop in, go ahead, hit the chat. Let's go ahead and we will cover this past weekend of boxing. We had some pretty good bouts. We did witness the last ever Showtime pay-per-view card through Premier Boxing Champions. They're now going to be moving forward with Amazon Prime from here on out. So, I think it was 38 something years of pay-per-views through Showtime. So, RIP to that era. Now we're moving forward. I was just thinking the other night, actually it was last night, because I was watching football on Amazon Prime, because they do the Thursday nights on Amazon Prime, and I'm like, man, Prime's really stepping into the sports world in a big way. And I'm thinking, the way that Thursday night football is done on Amazon Prime, I'm hoping like these boxing cards will be done in a similar manner. Of course, not the pay-per-view ones will probably work a little different, but at least the PBC Showtime cards, you know what I mean? Maybe those ones that were free, like PBC on Fox or whatever. Maybe we'll start seeing some more boxing in a more mainstream manner, So let's get right into it though. This weekend, Friday night, we had this past weekend we had on Friday night Jake Paul. He fought Andre August, and he had a first round KO, just like he said he was going to. Jake Paul is, I believe, continuing to make, leaps into the game. I think he is getting better and better with every showing. I do have a clip here of the first round knockout, just for everybody to see it. We'll get it put up here right quick. Just big enough where everybody could see it. I thought it was, listen, people are saying it's fake, this and that, woo, that it's not, that it was all choreographed out. People are like, look at the way he falls. He lands in a manner that, he knew it was coming. Listen, I don't know if we saw the same stuff. Bro bounces his head off the canvas like 3 to 4 times. If that was a safe fake landing that he tried to put on there, he didn't do a good job of it. So here's the first round knockout. We got Jake Paul, Andre August. Bam. And you can't really see it in that clip because it's cropped a little bit, but bro definitely caught one on the chin and bounced his head off the canvas a few times. I really do think bro just got caught, man. And that's what it is, bro. In this game, you know what I mean? You get caught. And people are going to call it. It's one thing after the next. It was like, oh man, Jake Paul's not fighting real boxers. Then he fights Tommy Fury. And now they're saying, oh man, Tommy Fury's not Tommy Fury's a fake real boxer. And then he's like, all right, bet I'm going to give y'all this dude, multiple time Gold Glove champion. I think he was like 10-1 or 10-0, 11-1, something like that. And he's like, I'm going to give y'all this dude. This dude's legit. This is somebody, a pro boxer in my, distance of career, right? Because, Jake Paul that was like his, I think 8th fight, 9th pro fight, something like that. So he's not that far into his career, and if you go back and look at all your favorite fighters, all of them, if you go back and look at their 7th, 8th, 9th professional career, you are going to look at them fighting somebody who is obviously not on their level, And I'm not saying that Jake Paul is fighting the best talent out there. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that he is on the level of almost every single other pro boxer at that time in their career. So I really do think that, this is a big step up for him. This guy was it was supposed to be a tough fight. You know what I mean? And I think he just got caught. I don't know much about Andre August. I can't tell you his full background. I can't tell you. I can go look on his box record. That's about it. But it might be a bunch of people that I probably don't even know the name for. You know what I mean? So, nonetheless, he knocked him out first round. I hope we're just gonna see a bigger bout next. You know how Jake Paul is. He's, at times a little unbearable, but I think he's doing great things for the sport. And I'll get into something later under the announcements tab that I have later on regarding Jake Paul. But he's calling out Canelo, doing his typical Jake Paul thing, calling out Canelo, talking about that he's gonna be world champion one day. I'm not mad at it. He's doing great things for the sport, bringing eyes to the sport, and he gave Andre August probably the best payday that dude's ever had. So, and that's another thing too. I was thinking that people were like, oh man, he just looked like he just went in there and rolled over. That was probably the biggest stage that he's ever been on. He said he was a multiple time, amateur Golden Glove champion. He fought in the nationals and stuff like that. And yeah, that's a big stage and all, but nothing compared to, what a Jake Paul brings in crowd-wise, you know what I mean? So, yeah, he fought in big tournaments in the nationals. Yeah, he fought, in the amateurs quite a few times. He's even had a few pro bouts. But I guarantee his pro bouts may have had little to no crowd in it. You know what I mean? And this Jake Paul bout brings people in, brings eyes on the sport, sells pay-per-views, sells big gates. You know what I mean? And this is probably his first time under the lights like that. And there's so many guys, it's easy to do stuff in the gym. It's easy to do stuff on these low-level cards. But when you get all the eyes on you and the lights come down and you got, the whole production behind everything, it's a lot. And the one thing I will argue for Jake Paul is since his very first pro fight, he's had those lights on him. He's had the pressure on him every single time to perform. So it's like Jake's almost getting this advantage that so many pro boxers that came up the correct way never have got. You know what I mean? So I think it's only going to help further Jake's career even better down the road. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. We'll see what's next for Jake Paul. I hope it's trending in the same direction. I'd like to see him continue to fight pro boxers around his weight class. Maybe even, it'd be nice to maybe even get him into a singular weight class and start getting him ranked by the different sanctioning bodies. You know what I mean? Because I still don't think, I can't remember exactly what weight this fight that he had just last Friday was at. But he's been fighting like weird catch weights. So I'd really like to see him get into his a weight division, and stick with that singular weight and just, start getting ranked by the, WBC, WBA, IBF, whatnot, So nonetheless, enough about that. Moving on. So that was Friday. Moving on, Saturday, December 16th, we had the very last Showtime pay-per-view card. And it went out with a bang, We had some pretty good fights on it. We had, Berto Guerrero 2, which was 11 years in the making. Then we had, Rayo Valenzuela. He fought Chris Colbert, which the last fight they had, I believe it was back in March. And it was on the, I want to say it was on the Plant Benavidez card, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it was on the Tank Ryan card. So it was somewhere March, April, somewhere in there. They fought, and it was a controversial decision. Valenzuela knocked Colbert down early, and Colbert managed to come back and win in a very, very argumentative way. A lot of people don't believe that Colbert won the bout, and I personally, we covered that bout, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, and me and James did back early in the early FNF days. I'm pretty sure we were both on there, and we were talking that we didn't agree with the judging on that. But, nonetheless, that was the decision the judges came up with. We respected it, and, we called for a rematch. Everyone called, let's run it back, let's run it back, let's run it back. And it happened. So we finally got it. It was a few months later down the road, but we got it. And I think we saw who deserved to win the first time. it was pretty quick and easy. The first few rounds of Valenzuela Colbert, it was a back and forth. I'm not going to say that Valenzuela went in there and just completely dog walked him, because that would just be lying. But by those later rounds, you kind of saw that Valenzuela had he had the upper hand, and he probably deserved to win both fights, if we're going to be real. But we won't go into that. We can't go back and change the past. Can't go back and argue. So, but Valenzuela won. It was a 6th round KO, and by KO I mean he sent that boy's soul to the netherworld. It was bad. It was a very bad KO. But those last few rounds before the KO, you could tell that Colbert kind of got off the game plan a little bit. He was arguing with his corner. He was having difficulties with that. And it just seems to me that I like Chris Colbert, and I think he's a very talented fighter. I just think maybe he needs a reset. I think he might need to, move to a different camp, or, reevaluate something, do some soul searching, something, because it seemed like he was not on the same page as his training staff and all that. He was arguing with people, and he was, just not listening to the commands of his corner. You know what I mean? So whether that means he doesn't respect his corner, or he's not in agreements with him, or whatever it is, he needs to either figure that out, or he's got to go find a new camp. You know what I mean? Because there's the last thing you need to do is be arguing with your team in the corner. You know what I mean? And not following what they're saying. Or if you don't agree with the way that they are coaching you, then you need to go find someone that you believe you will agree with. You know what I mean? So, and that's just from us on the outside looking in. What we noticed as fans, as boxing media, as whatever. We don't know what's really going on at all. So who knows? I'm not telling dude, hey, go uproot everything. But from what I noticed, and from what a lot of boxing media people that I follow noticed, it seemed like there's just a little bit of disarray there in that corner. So, you know what I mean? You never know. A fresh start with a new team could put you back on the right path. And I don't believe he's like out of it now that he's lost this. I think he can bounce back. A lot like how I feel about Jahai Tucker. You know what I mean? I think there's definitely a big bounce back possibility coming, and yeah. So nonetheless, Valenzuela won. I'd like to see, now that Valenzuela got that out of the way, because he was on a trajectory, and he ended up losing to De Los Santos, and then he lost that controversial decision to Chris Colbert. Now that he's won, I'd like to see him rematch De Los Santos. Hit that little revenge tour right quick. You know what I mean? Slide back around, fight De Los Santos. De Los Santos is coming off that loss to Shakur Stevenson. Revenge that, and then I don't know, down the road. He called out Tank Davis and a few other people. Of course, he's calling out big names. But maybe we see Valenzuela, possibly fight Pitbull Cruz down the road. I got some more news about Pitbull Cruz down the road later in this episode. But there's plenty of big fights for Valenzuela to come back from. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's going to be a big name in that division very soon. I really do think so. And that's tough because 135 is stacked. But I do believe that, I do believe he can do it, So now let's move on to the main event of that card. We had David Morrell and Sena Agbeko. Now, Agbeko, I was telling y'all last week, super hyped on him to get this opportunity. He's from Nashville, and he's trained in the gym I train at down there a few times, and he knows my coaching staff and all that stuff. So it's just super cool to see, somebody get that big opportunity like that. Unfortunately, he did fall short. It was a second round KO, and I hate to say it, I just think that it might have been a little bit of the same thing where he just kind of got in the moment a little bit. And, it was Morrell, it was his home crowd. That's tough, traveling alone just to go fight in front of somebody's home crowd, you know what I mean? So, I really do think that it just kind of came down to that. And I think that, Agbeko, this is his first big shot, his big step into that next level of boxing. You know what I mean? And Morrell has seen a lot, probably better, a lot more better sparring, a lot better, you know, looks in general. I think that Agbeko he had his chance there and just fell short. You know, I think he said that after the fight was over that he thinks he's probably gonna move down in weight, which I agree with. Morrell looked huge. And Agbeko's a big dude too, big jack dude too, but you could tell that Agbeko's frame is pretty small, you know? And I think that, you know, he would probably do a lot better at 60, maybe 54, maybe even 47 if he can make that. I don't know what his body allows, but yeah, he mentioned moving down in weight. I think that, you know, Morrell, it's time for him to have a step up. I actually have a video too of the finishing sequence there for Agbeko and David Morrell. I'll play it for you guys here. Blow it up a little bit. I mean, yeah, it was tough. Oh yeah. You could really tell that Morrell, you know what I mean, had that size advantage on him. It just seemed like every punch that Morrell threw was just, you know what I mean? And Agbeko did a good job in the beginning of holding it off, but I think it just came down to really just, you know, I think it just turned into be a little too much for him. And that's fine, you know? Like, I'd like to see Agbeko come back, maybe at a smaller weight class, get that. For David Morrell, man, I'd really like to see him kind of maybe take a step up. I'd like to see David Morrell, you know, I would say fight, what's his name? Andrade, since Andrade just came off that loss, but I believe Andrade's plan is to move back down to 160 from what I've heard. So maybe he does. Maybe he stays at 68, fights somebody like Morrell, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'd like to, everyone's saying Benavidez. And I don't think it's right. I don't think he's ready for Benavidez. I think that Morrell is a very, very good fighter. I don't think he's ready for Benavidez though. I think Benavidez has seen, you know, a lot better looks than him. I think it'd be the same thing. If you take Morrell and put him against Benavidez, it's gonna be the same thing as how Agbeko went in there and got against Morrell and lost. I think we're gonna see the exact same thing against Benavidez. So I don't think he's ready for that. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing him maybe fight a, what's his name? Berlanga. Maybe a Berlanga. Maybe, I think, didn't recently Derevyanchenko just move up to 68? Put him against Sergey Derevyanchenko or whatever. That'd be a good fight, I think. You know, who else? There's other people in the 68 division I think he could do good against. You know, I don't want to see him go. He's not ready for a Benavidez. He's not ready for a Canelo. You could maybe argue Plant. You could probably put him with Caleb Plant. You know, I think that would be a big step up. But I think, personally, I'm not even saying this because I'm a Caleb Plant fan either. I don't think he's ready for Caleb Plant, to be honest with you. You know, and everyone, you know, say, man, you know, Plant's gas tank, this and that, woo, woo, woo. Don't care. I don't think he's ready for Caleb Plant, you know. Or maybe he is. If he is, perfect. Well, let's make that fight happen. I know, you know, Caleb is here for the biggest fights only, and, you know, he'd be down for it, you know what I mean? So if that fight's in the works, then it's in the works, you know. I personally, I don't think Morrell beats Caleb Plant just yet, because I think, what is Morrell? Morrell's only like, what, 13-0, something like that? 11, 12, 13-0, something crazy like that. He's, or maybe, I think it might be 15-0, but still, nonetheless, that's young, man. I know he's got incredible talent, he's got incredible skill, good power, but I just don't think we've seen him against somebody that big yet, like that big of a name, you know? So, I don't know. And then plus, I don't know if this is true, and I hate to even bring this kind of stuff up because I don't like to bring up allegations, but, you know, Agbeko at the end of the fight, at the post-fight press interview, he was talking about how there were supposed to be all these drug tests and stuff like that, but none of them happened. So I'm not insinuating that Morrell is using anything, but you know, that does kind of bring up a red flag for you if, you know, you signed all these contracts to have all these drug testing things happen before and after the fight, randomly during the camp, whatever, and then none of it happens, you know? It seems weird. I think something about the state of Minnesota, fighting in the state of Minnesota or something too. I don't know. There's some kind of something that allows that to happen where you don't have to be drug tested or something, which I don't know, just throws up a couple red flags for me. You know, I'm not insinuating anything, not dragging anybody's name through the mud. But, you know, and it could be just an excuse that Sana is using, but I don't know. It is just kind of odd though. But nonetheless, I don't think that would happen on a regular card, or if Morrell comes in as the B side, you know what I mean, or whatever. So, but yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what's next for both those guys. There will also, that same day we had Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards, and this was a very good bout. Very, very good bout, I thought. Bam Rodriguez ended up unifying those belts at flyweight. You know, and I think Bam Rodriguez is slowly but surely moving his way onto the pound for pound list. You know, I think personally, if it was up to me, I'd have him somewhere on there. Dude's a dog, man. Bam Rodriguez is so good. You know, he just came off that broken jaw, you know, and yeah, he looks great. I think that I'm excited for what's next for him. You know, they really, the fight was, you know, the first couple rounds, it was like this, them feeling themselves out. And then round like 6 through like 9 just went crazy. I mean, it was just a war. Those guys were in there just going ham, you know what I mean? But yeah, I really do think that, you know, Sonny Edwards had a really good game plan and he had a good bout. I think that just shows how good that Bam Rodriguez is. I think he's just that good, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for those guys. You know, I'd like to see Rodriguez become undisputed at that weight, move up what's next for him. You know, I think, you know, he puts the work in, good dude. I think he's gonna just keep moving his way up. So, oh yeah, and it ended up being the corner they called it for Sonny Edwards. They had that knockdown pretty late in the 9th, got back up, finished the round in the corner. He went into the corner, and you could tell he was talking to his cornerman a little bit. And I don't know what exactly he said, but nonetheless, the corner decided to call it. So yeah, but let's get into this weekend of boxing. You guys see the, you know, thumbnail up there. December 23rd, Christmas Eve. We're gonna get a little early Christmas present, and it is a heavyweight tournament. I'm happy with it. Thank you, Boxing Santa, for bringing that a little bit early for us. I'm hyped on it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to watch it. You know, we got all the big names besides Fury and Usyk at the heavyweight division on this card. You know, we got we'll start from the bottom, work our way up. We have Frank Sanchez. He's fighting Junior Fa, and that's kicking everything off. That's going to be a good bout. You know, I like Frank Sanchez. I think he was very underrated and underrepresented, and you know, I think that you know, I think he still has a chance to work his way up. I just don't think he was handled right. You know what I mean? I think that just kind of goes to show that there's some dudes with really good talent that just don't necessarily get in the mix sometimes, and that just could be because of your, you know, training staff, could be because of your management, could be because of injuries. Nonetheless, you know what I mean. So that's who's kicking it off. That's how good this card's about to be. And then we got following that up, Arslanbek Makhmudov, the Russian Mike Tyson, the white dude with the neck twitch deal. You know what I mean? You guys know what I'm talking about. He's slowly making his way up in the heavyweight division. He's scary good. Scary good. He's fighting I'm gonna jag this so bad. But he's fighting Agit Kabayel. Agit Kabayel. So he's working his way up. You know, he's early in his young career, so this is a smart way to do it. You know what I mean? I don't really know much about Agit Kabayel. I'm sure he's good. He sounds like he has the Eastern European name. Those guys are all scary. But, you know, I think that it's, I think he is working his way up to big names in this division for sure. For sure. He's low key. I think he's the low key boogeyman in the lower portion of the heavyweight division. So then next we got a cruiserweight. I know it's not all heavyweights in here. They had to sprinkle a little bit of these lower weight classes in here. Jayo Pataya, who is the champion one of the champions of cruiserweight, he is going to be fighting Ellis Zorro. They finally announced his opponent. It was TBA for a while. They knew he was going to fight on this date, but they didn't know who it was. So yeah, Ellis Zorro, it looks like. And then there's another heavyweight bout right after or following that. We got it's Ergovich. I know of him. I don't know all about him, but I know of him. But I think it's Ergovich or something like that. He's fighting Mark Demori. That's gonna be a pretty good fight. Then we got Daniel Dubois and Gerald Big Baby Miller. You feel me? Or it's Jarrell, I think. Jarrell Miller. Jarrell, something like that. Nonetheless, I saw the weigh-ins for these guys earlier today. I was watching everybody at the weigh-in. And this was a kind of a crazy bout because there's like almost a 100-pound weight difference. I think Jarrell Miller came in at like 333 or something like that. And Daniel Dubois came in at like 239 or something. And I'm not saying weight means everything. We've seen that, play out in a lot of different aspects. But you can't say that it doesn't have some sort of effect. So, yeah, pretty wild though. Daniel Dubois, obviously he came off that controversial loss against Alexander Usyk, where the low blow, we didn't know whether it was a low blow or a body shot knockout. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, refs deemed it a low blow. Usyk won. Dubois is now working his way back up. So that's going to be a good bout too. And then now we're moving into the big names, Dubois and all them, in the heavyweight division at least. Then we have Dimitri Bivol. He's fighting Lyndon Arthur, which I didn't know much about Lyndon Arthur, but now that I've did a little research on it and I saw him at the weigh-ins, this dude is tough. A tough fight at 175. Bivol, we're waiting for him to get that, that bout with Beterbiev, or possibly that Canelo rematch or whatever. He was 2022 fighter of the year rather. So I'm hyped on it. I think it's about to be great. This is going to be a good fight. People are kind of dubbing this the low-key sleeper fight of the night. They think that this could be one of the better fights on the entire card. So I'm here for it. Like I said, again, I don't know much about Lyndon Arthur. Excited to see him in action. Excited to see Bivol in action. He's like one of the top guys I really like watching, just because he's got just crazy skill, crazy fundamentals, and it's good to see when the fundamentals prevail. You know what I mean? I like seeing that. I really do. So next, now we're getting into the co-main and main. We have Deontay Wilder. He's fighting Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder says he has the NyQuil in his right hand. He said he's ready to put Parker to sleep. But I don't know about this, guys. I like Deontay Wilder, and I hope that he wins. Just so we can possibly see the Anthony Joshua fight with him in March that's been settled on, as long as both guys win and neither guy sustains a major injury. We will hopefully see those two fight in March. But Joseph Parker's tough. He is a little older. I think he's like 37, 8, or 9, something around that, 38 to 39. Parker looks good for one. Watched the open media workouts. He looked really good. The only person I thought looked better than him was unfortunately Deontay Wilder. But, I think, he looks like he's in great shape. He looks, on the pads, he looked really good. Of course, anybody looks good on pads. But Joseph Parker's a tough fight. And I think that this may be it's tough for me to say because, Otto Wallin is a tough fighter too for Joshua, which is the main event. But I think low-key Wilder and Parker could possibly be the hardest one for me to call, on who's going to win. But yeah, I think that Deontay Wilder does pull it out. I think he does. You know, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think I don't see Parker getting knocked out. I don't see Parker getting knocked out. I see it going to decision. And I see Wilder winning. I'd say by either unanimous decision or split decision. One of the two. So, and then the main event of the evening, we got Anthony Joshua and Otto Wallin, which I think is going to be a tough bout too. It does not look like Joshua is looking past him at all. He's not, Joshua's normally that light-hearted, making jokes, cracking jokes, charismatic guy with the press and stuff before his bouts, but something's different in him. He's not, you can tell, there's been so many interviews with him where he's just barely saying anything. He looks like he's locked in, focused, ready to go. He keeps saying, he's like, I'm here for the fight, not here for the theatrics. So I'm hyped. This is a different Anthony Joshua we're seeing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And it could mean one or two things, I think. I think it could be locked in, or I think that he might know that, that this could go either way for him. You know what I mean? So we don't really know what's exactly in his head. I like to think it's because he's focused and ready to go. I see him winning this bout. I don't see it again by knockout, but it could happen. It's heavyweight boxing. We never know what's going to happen. That's the beauty of heavyweight boxing. It can end in a matter of one punch. That's it. That's all it takes. These guys have crazy power, and this is what the heavyweights are known for, So I really do think this whole card is good for boxing. I think that we're going to see some really good bouts for one. I think that it's good to see all these heavyweights finally fighting each other. It was kind of an issue in the heavyweight division for a while that we just weren't seeing the fights we want to see. And it almost seemed like the heavyweight division was kind of dying out. And when heavyweight boxing dies out, the rest of the whole sport dies out. Because people really love watching. There's people that don't even like boxing that will watch heavyweights go at it. You know what I mean? So it really has been the lower weight divisions that have carried this sport now for the past however many years. So it's good to see some good heavyweight boxing being showcased. And then obviously if both guys win, nobody's significantly hurt. We'll see Joshua and Wilder fight in March, hopefully, So I'm hyped for it. I'm hyped on it. I think it was super cool. They kind of did something different with this, with the Day of Reckoning thing. They did a lot of theatrics with it, like they did the trailer. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. I believe DAZN Matchroom's YouTube has it and their Instagram has it if you haven't seen it. It's like a 1.5-minute long trailer, something like that, where it's like all the dudes it's like a post-apocalyptic, dudes are like all, dressed up as zombies and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. So I think that's the kind of stuff that I think is going to kind of revive boxing in a lot of ways. We have to make boxing more, what's the word I'm thinking of? Make boxing more of a eye grab, I guess. So doing something different like this. Props to Eddie Hearn and those guys over at Matchroom DAZN for just kind of putting a different spin on this. You know what I mean? So I think that it's cool. I think it'll get some more people involved, seeing that kind of theatrical sort of side to it a little bit as the lead up, as opposed to just doing the traditional, crap talking, pep press conferences and stuff like that. So I think it's cool just to see something a little different, seeing boxing kind of evolve a little bit in that way. So I think it's good. I don't think it has any harm at all. So excited for it. I'll be watching, man. Maybe I'll do a little live tomorrow night after the bouts. We'll see how it goes. I know it's going to be in the afternoon. I'm off finally. Those of y'all that know me know that I work a lot on Saturdays and Sundays, so I don't necessarily get to have the chance to maybe do a live directly after a fight or something. But if there's enough people that are down with it and want it, maybe I'll do a since I'm off, do a little live video shortly, just kind of recapping what we saw after everybody wraps up tomorrow. But it is taking place in Saudi Arabia, so I believe it's going to be during the day. I'll double check on that, but I believe it's going to be probably the card probably starts at 2 or 3 in the afternoon here in the States. We'll probably see it wrap up around maybe 6, 7, 8 o'clock, something like that, depending on how long it goes. There's a lot of people on this card. I didn't really see much about an undercard, so I don't know if this is just all there is, or if there's an undercard before it. Don't know, or if it's televised or what's going on. But nonetheless, yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm ready to just chill, watch some boxing tomorrow, hang out with some family. You know, hopefully everybody gets the same blessing of that. At least getting to see your family, or at least getting one of these days to have a little bit of a time of rest, you know, during the holidays. So yeah. Well, let's get into announcements real quick. I know that we're already getting into, what is it, 35 minutes into this already. So I don't want to keep these too, obviously you guys know I don't like making them too long. Let's see here. Hey James, what's up, man? Welcome in. He said, oh snap, finally get to catch a live stream. So yeah, thanks for hopping in, man. Thanks for hopping in. We're just gonna run through these announcements real quick. I'm gonna let everybody go. But announcements, we have Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia have just officially started doing negotiations. Oscar De La Hoya tweeted a few things out in De La Hoya fashion, you know. We'll see where it goes. It's the beginning stages of the negotiations process. So I don't know. You never know what's going to happen, especially with boxing notifications or boxing negotiations rather. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I'll keep you guys updated on that. They are finalizing a deal now for Lomachenko and Kambosos. I don't know exactly when the date is. They're still we're in the works of finalizing it. They're mentioning like late February or March, somewhere in there. So that'll be pretty cool to see. Now that all of the belts have been vacated at 135, I think Shakur has one of them. The rest of them are all vacant. So I think we're gonna see, you know, a few guys start fighting for these belts, you know, and I think we're gonna get to hopefully see another 135 undisputed maybe next year, maybe the year after, something like that. So hyped to see it. I do like that matchup. I think that stylistically makes a good matchup. Kambosos is much more of a come forward, power puncher kind of guy, but also has that little bit of boxing skill to back that up, you know. And then obviously Loma, we know the wizard that he is, you know. I think that stylistically makes a crazy good fight. So I'll let you guys know more on that. They're still finalizing that deal, but yeah. And then this is in the very, very beginning stages of negotiation as well, just like the Devin and Ryan fight. But they're talking about a possible rematch for Gervonta Tank Davis and Pitbull Cruz. And I think they were saying either March or April from the sources that I was seeing. So I think I'm down for that. I know that, it's going to be most likely at 140 too, which kind of leads me to believe that he wants to get a tune-up fight per se at 140 to maybe get his body regulated at 140 and have a camp at 140 and fight at 140 before hopping in and fighting Devin. You know, I don't know. I think that could be a precursor to that. And you know, I think that everyone's been wanting to see the rematch between you know, Pitbull Cruz and Tank Davis, just because it you know, it was a really good bout. You know, and I know people say that you know, Tank possibly broke his hand during that, or you know, it was a last minute replacement. He was supposed to fight somebody else, so they're thinking, you know, Pitbull kind of came in and took advantage of that, him not really knowing you know, what to expect from Isaac Cruz. But nonetheless, they went all 12 rounds. It was a tough bout. People want to see the rematch for it, so I think it's going to be good. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition or if he ends up fighting somebody else. But you know, I think it's a smart move for Tank to do that. At least have one fight. You know what I mean? Let's see. History tells us that Tank should win the rematch more decisively this time, a la Mayweather versus Maidana. I agree. I think that I almost feel like he needs to knock out Pitbull this time. I really do. I think it would show the world, I guess, in a way, like, hey, this was a fluke. This last fight was a fluke. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you're right though. I think that he needs to come out and have a very dominant performance against him, and I think that's going to set up this fight against Haney or whatever he's trying to do at 140. Because he's come out multiple times and said, hey, I was uncomfortable at 140. I didn't want to fight at 140. And then now Devin's moved up, and Devin's like, yo, I'm not moving back to 135. I think that if Tank wants to make this bout happen, he'll make it happen. And I don't think that, Tank moving up to 140 is the end of the world. I think that Tank could probably fight at 147 if he wants to. He probably walks around at 150 something. But the size advantage, I get it. I do understand where he's coming from, that size advantage, because I think they just came in and said that Haney came in at like 165 against Regis Prograis, something crazy like that. And so I don't know if him and Haney fight. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of rehydration clause. I know that Devin was trying to avoid that, especially in this Regis fight. He avoided it, and I think Devin looked good and he looked healthy finally. He still struggled a little bit to get to 140, like I was saying last week, but I think that he's trending in the right direction. I think that we see Devin at 147 within the next 2 or 3 fights that he has for sure, So, but yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I'll let you guys know more if I hear more about that. Pretty much all of these, I guess, I'll let you know more on. But there was one more topic here I was going to hit. And I was telling you guys earlier about Jake Paul. So I saw this the other day. He posted it on his story, and USA Boxing posted it on their story too. I don't know if you guys can read that very well. I'm trying to zoom in on it for you. So it says, Jake Paul says, I'm honored to partner with USA Boxing. I'll be training with the, one second, let me see if I can move this a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, so it says, I'm honored to partner with USA Boxing as the 2024 Paris Olympics approach. I'll be training with the Olympic squad in Colorado Springs this winter and accompanying them to Paris this July to amplify our country's best amateur boxers. My commitment to boxing is much more than in-the-ring accomplishments. I'm determined to make my impact outside the ring bigger than any I do within it. I believe the United States has the best boxers. Let's put it to the test. Anyone who works hard enough to fight for their country in the most iconic contest has my support. Team USA, let's go. So, yeah, I think that was super dope, man. And it goes to show that I think that, Jake Paul is doing great things for this sport. I know he's making a lot of money, and people are like, oh, it's a big money grab, whatever, this and that. But, dude's already got a lot of money. He doesn't need to go get hit in the face. You know what I mean? And I think he truly loves the sport. I think out of all the YouTube guys or whatever, I really do think he's taking the sport the most serious. And something just like this, at first when I saw it, I was like, no way Jake Paul's competing in the Olympics, is what I thought at first. But he's just going to literally go train with the guys and go like support and help and it's probably going to help him too, honestly, if we're going to be real, because he never really had an amateur career. So it might be good for him to go sit in with those Olympic coaches and sit in with those guys and get good quality sparring in with these guys. It'll be good for the guys fighting in the Olympics to have a different look, I don't know, just have Jake Paul there, I guess. You know what I mean? I think it just goes to show that he cares more about just making money in this sport. He really wants to further this sport in a lot of good ways, and I'm here for it. I'll be real, I didn't like it when he first came out, but I think he's unfortunately grown on me quite a bit. So now that I've proven to you guys that I can read, we'll wrap this bad boy up. You know what I mean? So thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, we just hit 700 subscribers. I think yesterday we just hit 700, and seriously, thank you guys so much. We are doing nothing but growing. The gang is only getting bigger. The Fight Night gang is out here doing gang activity, doing what we do. And we're on the road to 1,000, man. So, and we're getting there. We're getting more and more people subscribing every day. So do me a favor, tell a friend, sign your grandma up for YouTube or whatever you got to do, and have her go subscribe to the Fight Night Forecast, because we're getting to 100,000, or we are going to get to 100,000 very soon, but we got to get to 1,000 first, excuse me. But yeah, let's get to 1,000, man. I really want to get to 1,000 you know, in the next few months. And I think that I think we'll be there. We're smashing goals. We're only you know, moving up from here. So live streams are only getting better. You know what I mean? Your boy's learning a little more things about software. And I'm trying to get more and more things rolling with that. So thank you guys though for tuning in. Thank you guys for the people that have tuned in from the bottom. You know what I mean? When I was just sitting in a hallway in my one bedroom apartment, you know, and you know what I mean? Big thanks. He's in the chat right now. He's in here right now. Big thanks to James. You know, he pushed me to do this in the beginning, and I think that you know, I'm not sure that I would be where I'm at right now if he didn't help me with that. So while you're here, I'm able to give you a big shout out. You know, I've been wanting to do that for a while, but no better time to do it when you're right here. So thank you guys for tuning in though. Hope everyone who celebrates, hope you have a very Merry Christmas. He says, all love, bro. You know it, man. That's all it is. Nothing but love, man. So I've been telling you, we got to get you back on here for a, you know, guest appearance or something sometime. So we'll definitely get that lined up sometime. So, but nonetheless, if you guys are watching and you celebrate, have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy some time with your family. Give a gift or two. You know, tip your waiter if you go out to eat. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, bless somebody. Yeah. So we will see you guys in the next one. That's a wrap. Peace.